Mushy mushy peeps, this is Mr. Sindel here. Today's date is Monday, October 14th, 2019. We're doing some pSAT review because our pSAT is on Wednesday. Most of you guys are taking it. And even if you don't take the pSAT, this is still a good review for the SAT, which you probably will be taking. Alright, so we're looking for a strong negative association, which means I'm looking for, if it's negative, I'm looking for a negative slope, and a strong association means I can see a pattern. So A does not have any strong association, although if there is an association, it does look like it is a negative one. B, its association looks to be about 0. There's no positive or negative association, but there is an association. C has a positive association, and D has a negative association because that is a negative slope. The correct answer here is D. Wow. All right, moving on to number 6. A hospital stores one type of medicine in a 2 decagram container. So based on the information given in the box above, how many 1 milligram doses are there in one 2 decagram container? All right, and it gives us this handy conversion up here. So if I want to do 2 decagrams, how many grams is 2 decagrams? Quiet raised hand for XP. Fernando will get you. Jose? 20 grams. Write it down. We have now converted from 2 decagrams to 20 grams. And we need to figure out how many milligrams are there in 20 grams. So I now need to convert this 1 gram into 20 grams. So 20 grams is how many milligrams? Quiet raised hand, Gunner?
Oh, 20,000.
20,000. It was 1,000, now it is 20,000. Oh, that's too many zeros. Is equal to 20 grams. So I have milligrams in terms of grams. Correct answer is D.
Mr. Sino, do you think you can do the pSAT? Like, do you think you can get 100%?
I could probably get very close to 100% on the math, definitely not the English. Although, when I took the GRE, the highest score that I got was on English. More than math.
Really?
I did, yeah.
But it says we can't use math with that.
Yes, and then why can't we use Mathway? I thought Mathway was supported by the state of California.
It is not supported by the state of California. Gunner, can you please take off your hood? Alright, so, hey, we have our own solar pavilion, so this is a very relatable problem. You guys have seen the whole... Okay, raise your hand if you've seen the graphs at the solar pavilion.
I've never...
What? What? It's so cool! We were there for the protest and everything, you guys! Alright, next time you're near the solar pavilion, go inside, look at the graphs that they have. They have real-time information on how much energy is being produced by the solar panels on the top of our solar pavilion. It's like a 2-minute walk, guys. You could even do it today for lunch. We cannot go right now. Alright, so, let's read here. Quiet raised hand. Who wants to read? Get some more XP in here. Julian.
The number of rooftops with solar panels installations in 5 cities is shown in the graph above. If the total number of installations is 27,500, what is an appropriate label for the vertical axis of the grid?
Of the grid, yes. So we're asking what are our units over here? Because that's the vertical axis. This is the horizontal axis, which is obviously the different cities. What is an appropriate unit for this vertical axis? And we know that they all add up to 27,500 roughly. And I guess this isn't quite correct because some of these should, I guess they're rounding to the nearest whole number of thousands. So it's the number of installations, obviously, because we don't have a choice there. It's the number of installations, but it's in tens, hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands. You guys are holding up 1, 2, 3, or 4 for A, B, C, or D. Take a guess. Our total installation is 27,500. So, you should be guessing A, B, C, or D. Everyone raise their number of fingers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. The 3s have it. It is indeed thousands. That's the only thing that makes sense, because if I add 9 and 5 and 6 and 4 and... Oh, there it is. That's the half one. And 3.5. All of those add up to 27.5. In order to move the decimal place correctly, I need to multiply by 1,000. I mean, everyone got that one. I don't need to explain it that in depth. Number 8. For what value of n is... I can zoom in here because there's no point. Why not? For what value of n is the absolute value of n minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0. So we can actually just solve this, right? So we have absolute value of n minus 1, absolute value plus 1 is equal to 0. And then I need to say the absolute value of n minus 1. If I subtract 1 on both sides, what do I have on the right-hand side? Quiet raised hand. If I subtracted 1 on both sides, what is the right-hand side, Sergio? Negative 1. All right, so my question for you guys, and you guys can just shout this one out. You do not need to raise your hands for this. If I take the absolute value of a number, what is my answer? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it either? If I take the absolute value, shout it out, I get a positive. This is now saying I'm taking the absolute value and I'm getting a negative. Can this ever happen? No, this can never happen. D. You can never have the absolute value of anything equal to a negative. Not even if you're in complex numbers, not even if you're in weird, different realms. This never, ever happens. I think I've studied math long enough to say that it never happens. All right, so now we're going to do some problems referring to this number. Let's zoom in here again. Questions 9 and 10 are about this one. Quiet raise hand, who can read? Hopefully all of us can read. Now, who wants to volunteer to read? Andres.
For XP.
For XP, of course.
The speed of a sound wave in air depends on the air temperature. The formula above shows the relationship between A, the speed of a sound wave in feet per second, and T, the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit.
Cool. So the air temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So let's all write it down. This is speed over here. And this T right here is temperature. All right, let's look at number 9. Which of the following expressions, or which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of the speed of the sound wave? So it's just basically saying solve for T. How do we solve for T? Let's come back up here. If I copy this down, so if I have, we're all going to copy this down as well. A is equal to 1052 plus 1.08 T. How do I solve for T? What am I going to do to both sides? There's a bunch of steps. A bunch of people can participate. You guys know how to do Algebra 1. How do I solve for T? Andres, first step.
So you minus 1.08 on both sides?
Are you being honest? Are you joking? Or you do not subtract 1.08 on both sides because you need to do reverse order of operations. This is being added. This is being multiplied. So going from the bottom to the top, do I deal with addition or multiplication first?
You deal with multiplication first.
If I'm going from the bottom to the top, which is first? A, S, M, D, A. Okay, so I'm going to undo addition. How do I undo the addition of 1052?
Subtract 1052.
There it is. Subtract 1052 on both sides, minus 1052. And I'm now left with A minus 1052 is equal to 1.08 T. Gunnar, what's up? That was a good stretch.
Whoa, we're trying to.
What do I do now? What do I do to both sides to solve for T? Right now I'm multiplying by 1.08. Jose? By? There it is, 1.0. That's 1.08. And that will cancel out. I guess I can just go like that. And I'm left with my answer. Does anyone see that answer?
A.
Looks like A is the answer. That's how easy that one is. No questions, no questions, no questions. We're moving on to number 10. Still referring to that equation up above, at which of the following air temperatures will the speed of sound be closest to 1,000 feet per second? So it's essentially telling us here, plug in 1,000, but we need to figure out, what do I plug in 1,000 for? Do I plug that in for A? Do I plug that in for T? Again, at which of the following air temperatures will the speed of sound be the closest to 1,000 feet per second? So, take a guess. Quiet raised hand. 1,000 feet per second. Am I plugging that into A, which is speed, or T, which is temperature? This is saying 1,000 feet per second. Take a guess. Quiet raised hand. Sergio, you already have your card in us. Cohen. Speed, yeah. 1,000. I mean, that sounds like speed, right? 1,000 feet per second. So I'm going to write out, instead of A, I'm going to say 1,000. is equal to, and then the rest of the equation, which is 1052 plus 1.08 t. This is definitely one of those questions where you need a calculator. So we're going to pause right here. Everyone grab a calculator. All right, now that everyone has calculators, let's come back here. So the first thing that we're going to do on both sides is to what? What are we going to do on both sides to solve for t? We just did this in step number 9. In fact, we can use number 9's equation. We want to have t equal to something. We can literally plug it in for a. Again, so I'm really plugging in 1,000 in for a, which means I can come back up here and I can say, hey, this a, you are no longer a, you are 1,000. I have substituted in for 1,000. So I'm going to do this on my calculator. Do 1,000 minus 1,052, and then once I get the answer, divide it by 1.08. Tell me what you get. So I'm going to say, okay, here we go. 1,000 minus 1,052 equals negative 52. I could have done that in my head. Now this is the part that I can't do in my head. I have to divide this by
Negative 48.
Divide this by 1.08. God, it's so hard to use this. Negative 52, 52, negative, divided by 1.08. Now I've hit it correctly. I got about 0.92. That's not right.
It's 25.
It's 52.
What is going on here?
Negative 48.
52, negative, divided by
Negative
1 point. I cannot type. This calculator is the death of me.
It's negative 48. Though.
He's determined.
What are you doing?
What is going on?
Gunner, stop questioning the
You
game.
need to update the calculator app. You get that number and then you gotta multiply by 2.
I don't know what's going on there.
It
That's
was
not
48.
48. That's 49.
It's
You have to
48.
round it.
Mr. Sindel, I told you it was negative
It
48.
was 49.
It is B.
So that's it's B.
No, I think it's C because what if you
It's
round
not
it?
C.
If you round it, yeah, round it. So if it's 5 or above, round up. If it's 4 or less, round down. What is this number?
48.
It's 48. Gunner.
48.
All right, thank you, Gunnar, for trying to make everyone unlearn math. All right, so we're going up to number 11. Which of the following numbers is not a solution? So we need to solve this inequality. Again, this is a review of Algebra 1. Most of the stuff is Algebra 1 and geometry. So I'm going to solve. What am I going to do to both sides? Let's deal with the x's first. What am I going to do to both sides to solve for x? Deal with the x's first. Fernando.
Plus 5?
I mean, you're not dealing with the x's first, but sure, we'll add 5.
Equal to negative 2.
Add 5, and I get
3x greater than or equal to 4x plus 2.
there it is. All right, next step.
It's B.
Next step. What do I do? Sergio. Minus 4x, minus 4x, and I am now left with what, Sergio, on the left-hand side? Negative 1x. 2. Perfect. All right, and then to solve for x, I finally need to do what to both sides? Jose? By?
Negative x.
Oh, by negative, not negative x, but negative 1, yep. And I get x is,
Negative 2 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Or less than or equal
let
to
Jose
negative-
do it. He was working on the problem.
Minus HP.
No, it's not.
Okay, Andres, go for it.
Greater than or equal to negative 2.
You got it wrong.
Greater than or less than negative 2.
No, you can't say greater than or less than because that's basically
I mean
not
less
equal to.
than or equal to negative 2.
There it is. Less than or equal to negative 2. Whenever I multiply or divide by negative, it switches signs. It faces the other way. So x is less than or equal to negative 2. Which one of these is not less than or equal to negative 2? It's saying which of these is not a solution. Which of these is not less than or equal to negative 2, which is saying which one. So to find things that are not less than or equal to 2, I'm looking for x that is greater than negative 2. Which of these is greater than negative 2?
3 and 5.
No, it's negative 1.
Negative 1.
I get XP for that, right?
No, you shut it out, the answer.
I lost more XP than got XP.
Ask me questions now. This one was a little bit tricky.
No, are there like tricks to every problem for the pSAT?
Almost every problem, yeah.
Yeah, what
Like,
if you, wait,
so
is it possible?
find
What's the
shortcuts or
quickest
not?
pSAT like time you've ever seen? And it got.
It doesn't really matter how fast you solve it, it's how high of a score you get.
No, I guessed on pretty much all of these, and I've gotten pretty much all of them right. Except one. I got 9 wrong.
All right, Gunnar, what'd you get for number 12?
Number 12.
Yeah.
5.
You got 5? All right, we'll check Gunnar's answer. All right, so here we go. Number 12. We have the number of seeds in each of 12 apples. So we're trying to find the mean of the number of seeds per apple. So how do we find mean? What is the definition of mean, the average? This is not even Algebra 1 anymore. This is back in 8th grade. What is the
I
mean?
don't know what that is. Mean?
Mean is the average. How do I find the average?
Divided by the number.
Divided by number of things. And what's the numerator? Shout it out, someone.
Average.
12. Oh, wait, no, it's average. No, it's 12.
Our general formula, what is the numerator?
Oh,
Mean.
what? Average.
It's the total number. Total number divided by the number of things. Number of categories, I should say. That would be a better way to write this. All right, so how many apples do we have? Quiet raise hand, easy XP here. How many apples do we have? Gunnar?
12.
12. That means our denominator is going to be 12. We had 12 categories, 12
I do that wrong.
total number of things. We need to find the number of seeds now. How do I find the number of seeds? Let me explain what's going on here. So, in one of the apples, because it says 1 right here, in this one apple has 6 seeds. So I'm counting 6 there. There were 2 apples here that had, because it says 2 here, there were 2 apples here that each had 3 seeds. So this adds up to 6. There were 4 apples here. These 4 apples each had how many seeds?
About 25.
5. So 4 times 5 is
20.
20. What does this one? How many seeds are there for these 2 apples?
About 6. 14.
14.
About 14.
7 times 2. What about this one? 9 times 3.
27.
27. I need to add all these together. That's why you have a calculator. And make sure that you don't make mistakes.
And then you divide it by 2.
Divide it by 12. We already have the denominator set up. What do you guys get?
About 25.
About 25. I think you might be off because I already counted 27 right there.
73.
Anyone else confirm? We got 73. 73. 73.
I didn't even put this.
It's
It's an ad.
0.00000001.
All right, do 73 divided by 12 then.
It's 6.
It's 7.
73 divided by 12 is 6.08.
Good.
It's roughly 6.08. Gunnar got it wrong. It is C.
Wait, but if you're rounding.
If you're rounding, then it's 6.
Gunnar, is that the only question you got wrong? Gunnar.
That's the second question I got wrong. I also got 9 wrong because I'm dumb.
All right. Zoom back out here. Let's move on to number 13. Now, this is a brand new problem because you guys all did through number 12 for homework. So we're on a brand new problem. All right, so I need someone to read our paragraph here. Who can read?
I don't know.
And now how many of you are going to volunteer to read now that I know how many of you know how to read? Yeah, the calculator is all for section 4. Just hold on to it until the end of class. Julian.
I just read that on my card.
A group of 10th grade students respond to a survey they asked which math course they were currently enrolled in. The survey data were broken down as shown in the table below. Which of the following categories accounts for approximately 90% of all the survey respondents?
All right, so we're looking for something that's 19%, which is about 1/5. 1/5 is 20%, so 19%. You're about, it's a small percentage, right? So you're looking for some small percentage. And if I take a look,
It's D.
females in geometry. Females in geometry is that 53 right there because it is the corresponding females per geometry. Females per geometry divided by the entire total. So everyone knows how to find females in geometry. That's 53. It's corresponding females in geometry. Everyone on your calculators right now. 53 divided by the total. 53 divided by 310. What do you get?
It's about 0.17. Or
0.170967704.
Do you get 0.19?
what?
Sorry, but
19%. I'm looking for 0.19.
No.
What I get for females taking geometry? What percent did I get? Not a decimal. What percent did I get?
About like 1/3.
No one has given me a percent yet.
Oh, 19%.
You guys got 19% for 53 divided by 310?
17%.
Thank you, Gunner. Give him XP. This one is 17%. Because if I do 53 divided by 310, I get 0.17, which is 17%. All right. Quiet raised hand. Females taking Algebra 2. How many females are taking Algebra 2? Quiet raised hand. Females taking Algebra 2. Quiet raised hand. Sergio. 62. There it is. Make sure you know how to find that. It's females taking Algebra 2. Now we're going to divide 62 by 310 again because that's a total. What is 62 divided by 310? Write down the percent next to that. 62 divided by 310. 0.2. Convert that to a percent. What percent is that? Quiet raised hand. Andres.
2%.
You guys are focusing on trying to be funny instead of trying to be mathematically correct. What if you're confusing your friends? Andres, give me the real answer.
About, no, I don't know the real answer. That was not a joke and I just got it
20%.
correct. I just got
Is
it
that
wrong.
20%?
I made a mistake.
Fernando.
20.
20%, thank you.
2%.
As a review, if I have a decimal, like 0.135, and I want to convert to a percent, move the decimal twice. So if I get 0.20000, which is really 0.2, move it twice, and I get 20%.
Oh,
All right. Males taking geometry. Find that number. Where's males taking geometry? Quiet raised hand. What number is that? Males taking geometry.
159.
Quiet raised hand. Gunner, you lost HP.
Again?
Yes.
Oh my.
Males taking geometry. Cohen. 59, because it's males taking geometry that intersects here at 59. Everyone, on your calculators, 59 divided by 310. Convert that to a decimal. Monse. 19%. Oh, it looks like we found our answer. Correct answer is C.
What I got.
Wait, I guessed that one on that one, then I got it right.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
Congrats. Good job. Let's go to number 14. Lengths of fish in inches.
I'm a long fish.
I need another quiet raised hand to read. Who can read this for the class? Gunner.
The table above lists the length to the nearest inch of a random shape of 21-gram bullhead fish. The other measurement of 24 inches is an error. Of the mean, median, and range the values listed, what will change the most of the 24-inch measurement is removed from data? No, that didn't make any sense.
Which will change the most if the 24-inch measurement is removed from the data. So, we're saying, go ahead and, well, there's the long way of doing this, right? Which is calculate both the mean, median, and range for the whole set of data, and then calculate it again once I eliminate 24. Which one is going to change the most? Any ideas? What does mean mean again? What's another word for mean?
Average.
What's another word shouted out for median?
Medium.
Nope.
What's the meaning?
What is a median? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Probably
What is
data.
another word for median?
Data?
Starts with an M again.
Mean.
Mean, the middle.
There it is. Andres has it. It's the middle.
My shin.
And I think everyone understands the range.
Echolocation.
Range is the top minus the bottom. The maximum minus the minimum.
Range be distance.
So if you want range, here it is. It's
Range rover.
max minus the minimum. Which one feels like it's going to change the most? Or maybe they're all going to change the same amount. I want you guys to guess on this one.
Medians.
This one, you really, if you know what's happening and have an intuitive sense of what's happening, you can get this right. You don't have to do any math. And that's how I solve this one. I have like an intuitive grasp of what's happening.
If you cross off right, you have to cross off right. That doesn't make sense. 'Cause it's a-
Everyone guess. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. Hold up some fingers. Which one makes the most sense?
I'm guessing 4 because I'm being peer pressure.
Peer pressure. You know what? I'm gonna guess 3 just to make things.
We guess 5.
People are changing their answers now.
Just to
I'm
make
guessing
things
2
interesting.
because I guessed.
I'm doing 4 because people are doing 4. So
All right, the correct answer is not D.
I told you guys.
It rarely ever is D.
It's C.
It's B.
So the correct answer is C.
I told
Oh,
you.
wait, so I
What
got it
does
right.
make
That's what I
sense?
told you.
The fish
Let's go.
can't have
I said,
range.
you had to go without being peer pressure.
The range and the length of fishes.
The range-
What was the range before? Before, the range was 24 minus 8. What is 24 minus 8?
About like
Quiet raised hand. What is 24 minus 8? Sergio. 16. What is it now? If I get rid of 24, the range is now what, Fernando? What is 16 minus 8?
It's 8.
This changed from 16 to 8.
Oh,
that's a big change.
Here's the median. The median is the middle number. The median, if I include 24, is 12. That's the middle. Because they're in order for us. The middle was 12. If I get rid of 24, here's the middle. In between 12 and 12, and you take the average. What's the average of 12 and 12? Everyone shout it out. The middle changed from 12 to 12. The average, we don't even need to calculate it. I know that the average was somewhere, I don't know, probably around 12-ish, and it probably went a little bit lower to like, I don't know, 11.5, because I got rid of 24. Which of those changed the most?
Obviously, range.
16.
The range changed the most.
Fish can't have
It's
range.
pretty straightforward. It's the range and the length of the fishes.
Not range.
The range and the length of the fishes can change.
shut up, bro.
Gunner, I'm going to kick you outside if you're going to do this.
No, but it's-
The range is the correct answer.
Let's make him do
All right, and that's all we have for that side. All right, we're on to number 15. 15 and 16 refer to the following information. Go ahead and look at that graph for about 10 seconds. What's it saying?
No, what are you gonna do with the dead fish? Down the toilet or?
Toilet, I think.
We're not gonna bury it. We're just gonna
We're
stay
gonna
at
bury
home.
If you guys want to bury it, we can bury it. All right, so your 10 seconds is up. Let's go ahead and read number 15. What does the C intercept represent on the graph? Again, C is this vertical axis where the Y used to be. What does this 5 represent here? And this is, again, coming from Algebra 1. If you know your linear equations really well from Algebra 1, knowing how they apply to real-life equations or real-life problems, what does 5 here represent? Everyone take a guess. A, B, C, or D. Fingers, go. Is it the initial cost of renting the boat? 1. The total number of boats rented. The total number of hours the boat is rented. Or D, the increase in cost of the rent for each additional hour. Hold up number of fingers.
Okay, no, either this or this.
Yeah, if you want to do your top choice versus your bottom choice, your first and second choice, you can do that as well.
Oh,
Which one is your first choice, Jose? Okay, 4 is your first choice.
I don't know. They're both my first choice.
Oh boy. I don't think a single person got this correct.
Oh, it's 4 then.
Correct answer is not D. The increase in cost, this is the slope. The increase in cost is your slope. The total number of boats, the total number of hours the boat is rented, that is your that is the farthest to the right. How far to the right can you go? The total number of boats rented is, sorry,
Teacher.
this is, yeah, because this is right. The total number of boats rented, I don't even know how you'd calculate that unless you had more information. I don't even know how you do B. The initial cost, this is correct. This is saying here, the initial cost is 5, and then after 1 hour, the price is now 8 because it goes up by $3 per hour. After 2 hours, it's now 12 because I started with an initial price of 5.
But when in doubt, guess C.
When in doubt, guess C.
Make sure that you guys understand this. Usually, the y-intercept, or in this case, the c-intercept, is always your initial cost, or your initial price, your initial amount. Your slope is the cost per boat for each additional hour. It's some fraction. Slope is per hour. Question, Andres.
When is the soccer tournament going to start?
I think it's during 7th period. All of 7th period is replaced.
There's not enough time.
So we're not gonna have robotics this week?
We're having robotics once, and then I'm going to switch it out for another class, so no robotics this week. Ask me questions about number 15.
Number 15.
So what's going to happen on Wednesday, I think, is instead of having our stuff happen during 7th period, it happens during 6th period, which will overwrite my Algebra 2 class. So my Algebra 2 class will meet during 7th period. And then robotics, you're going to chill somewhere else. It doesn't need to make sense. Number 16. Which of the following represents the relationship between H and C? Well, we know what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is 5, so you should somehow be adding 5. So it's not A, it's not D, it's adding 5. Now we have to find the correct slope. So the slope is the rise over the run, or the delta y over your delta x. So how much are you going up versus going right? Well, I'm going up 3. I went from 5 to 8. So I went up 3. If I'm making my triangle, this is 3 here. And I went right how much, Fernando?
You went right 4.
No, I did not go right 4. I went right
1.
1. So my rise is 3, my run is 1. So my delta y is 3, my delta x is 1. 3 over 1. This is 3 over 1, which means my slope is 3. The correct answer here is C. Your homework for tonight, and again, these don't go into areas, which is probably why so few people are actually doing the homework. You do lose HP. Your homework is to get through number 19. Nice and easy homework. Get through number 19. Please return your calculators.